What's up, Rapids fans? And on this week's edition of The Rundown presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, the Rapids take care of business at home against the Houston Dynamo, but then do so again in Open Cup against Union Omaha. And then we got a big one, Derby, on Saturday, the 30th anniversary match against Inter Miami. Let's get into it. What's up, Rapids fans, and welcome to another edition of the Colorado Rapids podcast presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm your host, Mike Ravolo, alongside my good friend and resident Rapids legend, Drew Moore. Derby, how we doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon? Yeah, afternoon, right?
I'm doing fantastic. I was walking around from the North Building here to the studio here, and the Rapids scored against Houston again.
Really?
Yeah. As I was walking, it was awesome. It was a big roar from the crowd and stuff.
Man, so, dude, I believe it. Considering how Saturday, we'll get into it in just a little bit. But yeah, I believe it. Mm-hmm. I can actually hear the crowd still cheering.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that was an incredible game. I'm definitely still riding the high off that. Even though typically you got to just celebrate in the moment and then move on. Since we had Open Cup along the way, which we're also going to get into because it's a very, very packed show. And later this week, like we said, the one that we had to circle on our calendars, if you, for some reason, you hadn't already leading up to this week, is the Miami match, celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Rapids and MLS in general, but the Rapids in this particular case, which is incredible to think, which is really cool to be a part of as an original club. Mm-hmm. And so as I was working on a project, actually, a video, and had to dig through the archives a little bit and find some footage along the way. And there was one bit that I found from a few years ago that you might recall. No, it's good. I promise. Okay. I'm not throwing you under the bus. Or am I?
Because I don't know.
This involves you. We're gonna take a look.
Right arm up. Right foot swings to it. Gets in. Gets in the back of the net. It's Drew Moore.
It's so good. This is rolling it back to 2023.
That corner flag was eyeing me up during warm-ups, and I didn't appreciate it. Oh my gosh, what is this for?
So honestly, dude, this is just celebrate in the spirit of us celebrating 30 years as a club and as a league, particularly as a club. I figured, you know what, let's show a little love, since I keep throwing you under the bus more often than not with all the viejo jokes and all that, even though I don't have room to kind of toss those around anymore. I figured let's show a little love to our resident Rapids legend here, Drew. So that was 2020 against Orlando, the first home game of 2020 here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. I was not here at the time. I didn't get here just yet to the club, but I remember watching. As a neutral, I was just watching that game, and I hear Connor Cape on the call with the call that he has. A hero. The hero call, returns. It was it was perfect. It was like storybook, honestly, in terms of the call, the goal, the moment. It was the game winner at the end of the day against a hard fought match against Orlando. So I was like, you know what? Let's surprise Derby a little bit in the spirit of 30th anniversary.
Yeah, I love that, man, because that was a special moment for me. And I think the day that I knew I was coming back to the Rapids. You just as athletes and as humans, you just in my head, I was like, what if I come back and score a game-winning goal or something? My first game, literally, it just, and it doesn't really dawn on you until it actually happens. It's like, man, I had a moment where I thought about doing this, and for some reason, I went to the right spot. It was a fantastic ball from Jack Price, and that's cool. It gives me some goosebumps.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
No, of course. Yeah, I mean, again, it was just one of those things. I was going through a bunch of footage from way back in the day, way back to 99.
Way back in the day.
you were in there, and I figured, no, let's just surprise Derby with a little something there in the spirit of 30th anniversary, and of course, a Rapids legend.
I appreciate it.
So, like I said, that was a really cool moment to see as a neutral. Let alone, I couldn't imagine the moment when you're at the stadium there celebrating that moment, right? The context of the goal being the game winner. So no, just a little something there for you.
Hey, it would be cool if on Saturday we get a late match winner or something like that.
So you're going to be on the pitch, is what you're saying.
If there's a game to jump back into.
Well, there you go, Miami. Include him in the scouting report because you're going to have to keep tabs on him on set pieces. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All right, so let's get into it, Drew, because we have a jam-packed show to cover here. Lots to cover here, like I mentioned off the top in the cold open. So let's get into it with our Houston Dynamo recap. So the Rapids taking on the Houston Dynamo over the weekend on Saturday here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, the first time these two sides meet in 2026. And the Rapids, they've been winning at home. They look to continue that form. And, I mean, they would do a good job to start, Drew. 5th minute, Kosi Thompson on his debut scores a goal for the Rapids, 1-0.
Yeah, great service from Dante Seeley. And first goals and early goals at home are just massive. It sets the tone. It gets the crowd into it. And the Rapids fed off of this momentum not too long later as it's good high pressure from the Rapids. The first 20, 25 minutes of this match, they were all over Houston with their energy and on the front foot, and it leads to opportunities like this for Josh Atencio. It's a fantastic strike, picks up some pace off of the wet grass, and we know he's capable of scoring these kind of goals. And this just, as I said, set the tone for the rest of the match.
So far, so good. Moving ahead to the second half, 53rd minute, Drew. The Rapids here just insisting on Houston Dynamo. Like we said, you could see them defending, being gritty, being tough, as we talked about a Ben Olsen side was going to be. Kosi Thompson said, you know what? I'll sneak another goal in there on my debut as well.
Yeah, Kosi just doing apparently what Kosi does in Burgundy. And I love it. Through traffic, a lot of bodies in the way, deflections, screens, whatever it is. Go for it. Another goal, big one.
But Houston would have a response during the 69th minute. We talked about him in the previous show leading up to this match. Lawrence Anali with a goal to make it 3-1.
Yeah, and they responded a couple times, and I think the Rapids they let their guard down in some moments where they shouldn't and allow Houston just a little bit of life, but it didn't last too long because, again, the Rapids just kept up the pressure and the attacking end, and what a run from Wayne Frederick. And Georgie Manungu made a huge difference when he made his way onto the field. Nearly scored early, only about 10 or 15 seconds after making his way onto the field, but not long later gets the assist to Rafa Navajo, and it's a great goal. It's well created. He's so dangerous in these positions, is Manungo, and you know Rafa's going to finish that one off.
Yep, and then usually in added time, Drew, not too much going on more often than not in a match, but the Rapids had a different idea in mind with an own goal here from Felipe Andrade for Houston.
Yeah, and it's good individual play from Alexis Manyoma and Noah Cobb, the willingness and ability to get up the line. And you're in a position like this, just smash it low and hard across the face of goal. And own goals, tap-ins, whatever it is, these things happen.
And then moving out here, just a couple minutes later, Guillermo would sneak in another goal for Houston, make it for 5-2 rather.
Yeah, and again, I love the response from the Rapids after this goal. You don't want to see, you don't want to concede in stoppage time, even though you have, a several goal lead. And Rafa Navajo finishes off his brace from the penalty spot. A 6-2 match, you can't complain too much about that at home. You score 6 goals, but there were some moments that the Rapids, they switched off a little bit, and I think Matt Wells was a little bit torn in the locker room afterwards because it was a dominant victory, but there were some moments there that, you can't let those things happen against maybe some of the top teams in this league when the game's a little bit closer. All that being said, that, 6-2 looks pretty good to me, Mike.
Looks pretty good, Drew, I must say. Looks pretty good. Let's go through the match stats here real quick before I get your thoughts on the match, Drew. So goals, as we just mentioned, 6 for Colorado versus the 2 from the Houston Dynamo. Total shots, 16 for Colorado, 20 for Houston. Shots on target, 8 for Colorado, 8 also for Houston. Corners, 2 for Colorado, 4 for Houston. And then possession, 51% for Colorado and 49% for the Houston Dynamo. Like I always do, Drew, let's get your thoughts on that match between the Rapids and the Houston Dynamo.
Yeah, and kind of like I alluded to just a minute ago, and, being in the locker room after the match, everybody was excited for sure, but everybody was also like, we feel like we left not goals out there, but the goals that we conceded, probably shouldn't happen. And it wasn't the actual plays that led to the goals for Houston. It was more just, did it become a little bit too easy for the Rapids? And they felt like they could switch off a little bit. And the energy that they put into the match, the first 20 or 25 minutes that we talked about during those highlights that created those first 2 goals, they didn't maintain it as long and for as long of stretches as I know they're capable of, and I feel like they should have, And so in a 6-2 match, it's kind of like, Drew, you're having a little bit of a dig here. And yeah, I feel like I am a little bit, because you can't feel like things are too easy. You have to respect the game. You have to respect the opponent. You have to respect what you can do first and foremost, right? And what the Rapids were capable of that night was winning 7 or 8-0 in that match, It's fair to say that in a 6-2 match where you give up 2 goals that you probably shouldn't have conceded, That being said, you can see what they're capable of when they do go with energy, when they do go on the front foot, when teams do kind of disrespect them and say, we're going to press you up high because we feel like we can pin you in, we can win the ball up high. And all of a sudden now you're running back towards your own goal, you're scoring own goals, you know, you're getting picked off high up the field. Like, this game had a little bit of everything, and the Rapids, I think, still had a sour taste in their mouth, and that's a pretty good sign. How did you feel about it, Mike?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I must say. But I'm with you, Drew, in terms of I felt a little mixed as well, right? And I think the players, obviously, Matt Wells had mentioned in his post-game press conference saying it's a bittersweet feeling just because of the 2 goals that we conceded and the manner in which we conceded them, right? You know, Matt Wells is very, very insistent and stringent in terms of how he wants the guys to play and move everything, like anything to do with the on the pitch, like he is on the guys every single second, as you can see during a match. But that being said, though, the fact that you mentioned earlier that there were some goals you feel like were like left on the table on the Rapid side as well. I agree with that as well, because you look at, there was an abundance of chances I would say the Rapids had where there were some goals left on the table there, and we scored 6. So this very could have easily been, I think, more than 6 goals that the Rapids walked away with on the night, on top of the 3 points that they resoundingly got against the Dynamo. Again, we talked about how difficult the Dynamo were going to be, gritty, difficult. I think maybe it didn't help their case in terms of missing certain players like an Artur, Jack McGlynn. I mean, a couple guys who are very key in terms of how they want to play. You know, Hector Herrera came onto the field, but I think he's not the same player that he was 2-3 years ago when he last was on the Dynamo. So the Dynamo were always going to be under it a little bit, but you couldn't take that for granted and assume that you could walk away with the 3 points if you were the Rapids. You know, I just think to the first, 15, 20, 25 minutes, Houston had no answer for the Rapids' high press, and then going the other way, high up the pitch to score the goals that they did with Josh's goal in particular, when they win the ball up high up. But just in general, they just didn't have any solutions for the Rapids in those first 20, 25 minutes or so. And then it felt like they took their foot off the pedal a little bit. And Houston was trying to find a way back in, but I think it was a pretty resounding victory overall for the Rapids, Drew.
Agreed. And there was a moment where the Rapids were in their build-out phase. They had a goal kick, right? And they're playing the kind of short, intricate that I think makes the crowd a little bit nervous, right? Which I could understand. Maybe they're not used to the system. We'll get used to this system because this is how the Rapids play. Because when they break down that first line, the acres of space that Manungu and Sealy and Yappy and Paxson and Hoffa and all the attackers have to run into is why you score 6 goals in a match. Now, they don't all come from plays like that, but it creates so many problems for the opposition. And there was one play where, and I think it was just for the second goal, where, you know, again, Zach Steffen, he brings the pressure in, he plays Josh Atencio out, and he makes an incredible turn at the top of the box and starts to go, and you could kind of hear the crowd gasp, and you see Matt Wells on the sideline kind of give it the calm down. We do this every day in training, all right? Like, this is how we play. And it's fun to see the Rapids commit to this system and what it can produce. It's like, you know, I'm sitting up there, I'm typically on the radio call, and I'm just like, yeah, here we go, you know, like it was a great sight to see. Again, like I'm with you. I always notice that people do get a little nervous. You can hear it in the crowd a little bit. It's like, but exactly as you said, I mean, this is something the guys rehearse, train throughout the entire week, and is going to be a part of the way they play, regardless of the situation, the context, who they're playing, where they're playing. That's just good. It's high risk, high reward, as Matt Wells had put at one point. I remember him mentioning that it's high risk, high reward. But that's where, again, like, unless you have a team that presses well enough, like if it's just one guy and then another guy come to press and then the Rapids work their way out, they are going the other direction, and highly likely they're going to score, as we have seen. They dropped 6 on Houston on the weekend, and who else, you know, might fall victim to the Rapids with the way that they play and how dynamic they are, Drew. For those who might have been wondering if the Rapids had scored more or 6 goals on another occasion in club history, against Houston Dynamo was not the first time. Nope.
So the first time, the other occasion that the Rapids did score 6 goals was against the Montreal Impact, I believe, at the time, I think, if I remember correctly. Back in 2019, it was a 6-3 win here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, August 3rd, 2019. So anyone who was here on Saturday...
I was here on Saturday.
I was going to say Saturday. You threw me out there. Anyone who was here on Saturday against the Houston Dynamo got to be a part of a little history there and witnessing 6 goals for the Rapids going into the back of the net. So it was a pretty fun night, I must say. Notable performances, Drew. Obviously, we talked about in general the group. The Rapids side just had an overall excellent performance. There's a little few things that we were kind of nitty-gritty about and picking at a little bit. But We also had some guys stick out, including Matt Wells in terms of making team of the match day. So with team of the match day, Matt Wells there as the head coach, Houston and Omaha, Kosi Thompson as starters on that team of the match day, and Josh Atencio making the bench. Again, this is just a few guys who had excellent performances on the night, Drew. What did you make of some of those guys and how they did on the night?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, just pick out a couple on a night like that, but you have to talk about Kosi and his impact, immediate impact right away, and his, again, his willingness and energy to get up and down that right flank, to get on the end of a cross from your left winger, which Darren Yappy just missed out on as well, right? That winger-to-winger goal would have been sweet, but Kosi Thompson right there defensively got in all the right spots, was good in 1v1 situations, gets assists on a second goal, gets a third goal, or gets his second goal, the third goal of the match. Like what more could you ask for? Again, we were joking before. I didn't know we signed a number 9 in Kosi Thompson, but yeah, we'll take it, and Hoffa. It's like Houston didn't realize that Houston and Omaha is one of the best pressing forwards in this entire league. How many times did he take the ball off of the goalkeeper, off of Bond, right, or off of the center backs? Like, we try to tell people every week, basically, how good he is defensively.
If they watched the podcast, they would have known.
Yeah,
they didn't even need to do a scouting report, but
for sure.
To each their own.
And yeah, Josh Atencio is class and shows his ability on the ball, his calmness in tight spaces, and a great finish. We know he's capable of scoring goals. So some very good performances, just a good team performance. And Matt Wells, like, just a quick aside on him, because I was thinking about it this week. I've been lucky to be around some pretty good coaches in this league and with the national team. Oh yeah. And I've never been around a coach that is as good as Matt Wells is as analyzing video of a game or a training session, whether it's his team or scouting an opponent. Just the way he can watch a team play and know exactly how to play against them, know exactly what they're going to do is so impressive. And then to be able to go and teach that and coach that to his team, both in the video room and on the training field, is this guy. We've said a lot of positive things about him, and I don't want to, I got to pump the brakes a little bit, but he's special. He is. Yeah.
I think even I remember just the first time I heard him just kind of talking in general in terms of what he wants to do, how he wants to play. Clearer than water, I think I would say, in terms of like the vision that he had in terms of how he wants to go. Like, he's one of those guys where when you listen to him talk, you know very well he knows exactly what he's talking about, right? And he has the resume to kind of back that up. And, coming from a place, as we've talked about before, coming from Tottenham, they won the Europa League. He's been a part of a campaign, what it takes to win a competition like that, right? Like, a lot of experience, and he's like young coach as well, dude, like, which is wild. Wild. So when you have someone like Matt Wells at the helm, when you have the talent that you have here at the Rapids, I don't know. I feel like it's only good things that can come our way. A few hiccups along the way, as we've known already early on in this season. But I feel like there's a lot of good things coming this way for this Rapids side.
Well, they've scored 19 goals.
Tied for the most in the league with Vancouver.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good, I would say.
And I think, the game in Toronto was a weird one. I don't think we deserve more than we got from it. But you get... you got what you got from it, and so that's the way it is. But, teams are going to start taking notice and maybe adjusting the way they play a little bit. And that's when it'll be interesting. That's when I think that's when Matt Wells, he's like, all right, do we need to adjust now? I've got an answer for that, And so it's so fun to be around and to watch him, like I said, teach everybody what he sees, and to be a part of that is it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, there was one more guy I wanted to highlight here that I didn't have off the top in our list. It was Georgie Manungu. We got him from Seattle Sounders, that we'd mentioned before on the pod. Made his debut coming off the bench in the 68th minute. My word, Drew. Like, I'd seen him when he was playing with Seattle and had a stretch. It was like, I think a couple of years ago when he was really coming onto the scene for the first team, and you were like, man, this guy's got something. But to see him in person doing what he's doing, it was something else, Drew. Like, was it Josh in the mix zone, like, post game with the interview that he did with the press? Basically said, I think we just let him off his leash. Like, the way he was just getting after Houston defenders. Like, if I'm a Houston defender, I would be scared. You know what? Yeah. Against Georgie Manungu, charging at you, taking you on relentlessly. I mean, he was getting people off their seats. I kind of took a look back when I was filming on field side. pitch side during the game. And like when he got the ball, I just kind of looked back and you could hear them react and like literally get out of their seats as they're watching Georgie grab the ball and take on the Houston defenders, because you knew something was bound to happen with Georgie when he's on the ball. Like, so already in a very talented and very good forward/winger pool, to add Georgie into that we have one of the best attacks in the league. I'm just going to say it right there.
Yeah, I like that, and he is going to be a huge piece of that attack, right? And he showed it in his 25 minutes, whatever it was, against Houston. He's very direct. He's very powerful. He caused R2 a lot of problems for a few seasons there, so we got a good close-up look of him, and it was always like, who is this guy, And to have him now in Burgundy at still a young age, still hungry, and just a positive, just happy person.
Yeah.
You can tell, ready to make a good influence, a good impact, and a positive influence. Thank you for mentioning him, because he deserves a mention.
Yeah. Like I said, just wow. Wow. Like I said, joining an already talented pool of players that we have. This team's going places, Drew. I'm going to leave it at there, but I just feel like this team can go places. I think there is something special going on here right now at the Rapids, and long may it continue.
Yeah,
again,
sure.
it won't be without road bumps. It won't be without hiccups, as we've seen, like you mentioned, the Toronto game. There's going to be moments that are going to be frustrating, infuriating. They're just going to beat you down, honestly, at some points. Again, the Toronto game isn't a perfect example of that, but I feel like some of those experiences are going to make this team that much better. And we're talking about, again, the youngest team in the league, learning experiences from a game like Toronto and other instances they're going to have along the season. But this team is going places, man. I have a very strong gut feeling about it right now, and my gut's rarely wrong. So, yeah. So I hopefully
I need your gut.
Yeah. No, you don't. Not in the best shape. So, yeah, Drew, I mean, a resounding victory for the Rapids. Like we said, there were certain things that we and, of course, Matt Wells had kind of the nitty-gritty had picked out a little bit in terms of ways that the Rapids could have had a better performance, particularly with just the way they conceded the 2 goals. But still a very resounding, positive, important victory to get, as we're entering this incredibly busy stretch of matches that the Rapids have right now. Which takes us straight to Open Cup, which we just had last night here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park against Union Omaha, the USL League One side. So before I get your thoughts on that match, Drew, and how that all went down, just going through the match stats here between the two sides. So it was a 1-0 win for the Rapids against Union Omaha, with Dante Sealy being the difference, getting his first Rapids goal, by the way, there. So congrats to Dante on that. Total shots, 8 apiece for Colorado and Omaha. Shots on target, 6 for Colorado, 2 for Omaha. 6 corners for Colorado, 1 for Omaha. And then possession, Colorado had 66% versus Omaha's 34%. Drew, your thoughts on that match just only a few days after the Houston match?
Yeah, Rapids did what they had to do, right? And it's survive and advance in a cup competition like this. And I think sometimes in these kind of competitions, the first game is sometimes the hardest one, right? Because it's new. Sometimes you're seeing some newer faces that you haven't seen a lot of in league play, at least start games. You're seeing opponents, in a lower division that you typically don't see, and those guys are up for it. And I want to give credit to Union Omaha. I thought they came in and were organized. The occasion didn't seem too big for them. They've got some experienced players, and I thought that they did a good job of making things more difficult than the Rapids would have liked. But that's cup competitions. That's one and done type games, And the Rapids, you love seeing Dante Sealy get the goal. Hopefully that translates to goals in league play, because this guy has it in him, right? He's got the ability, he's got the size, the strength, the aggression, the energy to go and score goals, right? I thought Keegan Rosenberry did fantastic of stepping in and being a leader and understanding that this is going to be a more difficult challenge than maybe people from the outside realize. And, he took the lead, getting the assist on Dante Sealy's goal. And then the Rapids did what they had to do, and we had a debut. We had a fantastic save from Nico Hansen in a moment where we needed him to make a fantastic save. So all in all, you advance. You have the people down the road to the south that will be coming up here in a couple weeks to try to continue to progress through this tournament. So survive and advance.
Yeah. That is cup competitions, Drew, and Matt Wells actually spoke to that in his postgame presser last night after the game against Union Omaha, and saying, "Listen, there's been instances when I was with Tottenham and Bournemouth, and where you go to some of these lower league sides, whether they come to you or you go to them." It's a fight sometimes. It's difficult, like you just have to find a way to win sometimes. Like it's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be easy. It's just one of those where I think last night was a perfect example of that. You just need to find a way. Union Omaha, again, credit to them for they definitely. I think they were very well set up against the Rapids. I think they definitely did their homework in terms of how dynamic, how aggressive, like just how good in general the Rapid side is, but how can you frustrate them? So I think there has to be some credit to Union Omaha for the way they kind of stood up and were not didn't shrink in the occasion against a very good Rapid side that featured a lot of the guys who had played on Saturday against Houston. You know, this wasn't just like a wash in terms of just throwing on academy players or second team players. Like the Rapids put their best foot forward with the lineup that they put out there. So, but as we said, cup competitions is just survive in advance. Do what you need to do to get the win on the night so you can move on to the next round, which is exactly what the Rapids did. And like I mentioned, Dante Sealy finally, dude, he got his first goal for the Rapids. I think that was something that seemed to like just weigh on him a little bit in terms of wanting to really just add on to the stat sheet for him. So he gets his first goal for the Rapids officially, doing so in Open Cup, and that was the difference on the night. Like you mentioned, Nico Hansen, man, like Matt Wells mentioned this in his post-game presser when I listened back to it, and he said we have two number ones in the Rapids in terms of keepers between Zach and Nico. Nico showed that out of the blue last year when he was forced to come onto the scene, called upon in the moment when Zach and Adam were both either away on national team duty or hurt. Nico steps up and takes full advantage of the opportunity that presented itself. And Matt Wells, I fully agree with. We have two number ones in goalkeepers there. And I know Sharpie will appreciate the shout out there as well. So that's a shout out to Sharpie in terms of creating and facilitating that sort of environment that creates that competition, but also fosters the competition, but allows guys to be able to kind of encourage each other to be in a good spot to take advantage of opportunities like this. So I know Zach would be fully behind Nico when this opportunity came up for Nico. All right, Drew. So actually one more guy that I wanted to touch base on here for Open Cup, this is big, I would say, is regarding Nathan Chumba, who subbed on in the 86th minute. And this is wild, Drew. This is a crazy stat, and I'm sure you're going to take a sense of pride from this if you're Nathan, where he was the youngest player ever in Rapids history to feature for the club at just 15 years and 141 days old. I was in school, bro. At the time, I was one, and I don't know what, like, I was doing nothing for the however many years after that. And he's making his debut at 15 years old for the Rapids.
I don't remember what I was doing at 15 because that was a long time ago. But I know I was not doing what Nathan Chumba's doing.
Yeah. But that's huge, man. And I think that says a lot to the work the Rapids Academy here is doing, right? The fact that they're providing a platform and environment for these players to see a pathway and to know that there's some direction that they can go to and getting all the sort of skills, be it life or football skills, that they need to be able to carry them to put themselves into a position like this that Nathan put himself into to be called by Matt Wells and the coaching staff to the first team. And for an important occasion as well, right? Because the game on itself being Open Cup is important. Yep. The context being that he comes on in the 86th minute when the Rapids are trying to hold it together in the 86th minute against Union Omaha, who were insisting. They were not letting go. They were trying to find the equalizer there to take it to extra time, even PKs. So credit to Nathan to be able to just step on the field, hold it together as a 15-year-old, and just go out and perform and do what he needed to do to see out the result for the Rapids.
Chumba's fantastic, and he's somebody that this club and this country should be extremely excited about. And he showed last night. I saw him when I was just on my way up here just a little bit ago down in the locker room, and I didn't see him last night after the match. So I said, "Hey, congratulations, man! That's awesome." I was like, "How'd you feel?" And he said, "Well, I was a little nervous." And I was like, I couldn't tell. And he was like, "Really?" Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, man. You went out there and you did exactly what you needed to do. And even if it's just, towards the end of a match to close up shop." He helped do that. He helped support do that. And those are massive minutes for a young man like that who earned those minutes through his play and through his maturity and through the head on his shoulders, which is wise beyond his years, which you love to see. I hope for Chumba, it only grows his love for this club and for this game and his passion to continue to do what he's done up to this point, because he's fun to be around and he's a fun player to watch. he's got a long way to go, and he knows that, and we know that. But those are huge steps last night, and you love to see when young players like that step in big moments in cup competitions. And go and look exactly like themselves. And so a great night for him personally and his family, I hope. He's somebody that, like I said, he's mature. He's always been around older players, at least for the last couple of years. And I'm really excited to see him grow from this.
Yeah, man. I think the entire club, I think, is excited, right? This is just a continuation of the work, like I mentioned, that the Rapids Academy is doing, of all these players that have come through there to not just be a part of the first team, but have an impact on it as well. I mean, we could go through the list. I mean, we don't have time because we have a jam-packed show, but there's a list of players who have gone from the academy, gone into the first team from there, and had an impact on this club and this group and what they've been able to contribute on the pitch and also in the community as well, which is a huge part of what it means to represent this club as well, right? So for you to be able to speak to his maturity on top of that, right? That's something we can pick up off the get-go, and unless we're having conversations with him, we're just seeing him step onto the field in a big occasion for him and for the club. Doing his thing is hopefully like a sign of many things to come for him and what is a very young career, but hopefully a long one as he moves forward with it, right? There's one little moment I saw with him and fun enough with a couple other homegrowns. Jackson Travis, Darren Yappy just kind of had him like in an embrace, like a friendly embrace, and you just see two of the veteran homegrowns there giving a little love to the very young homegrown, the youngest, again, Drew, the youngest player ever in Rapids history to feature for the club at just 15 years and 141 days old. That's wild.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But
I would encourage him not to spend too much time with Darren Yappy and Jackson Travis, but that's a cool image to. I can't. I love those guys, and that's why I say that. I'm just giving.
we'll
them
cut
a
that
hard
out just to
time.
not kill the moment that we had going on there.
No, but that's a brotherhood. The homegrowns.
Oh yeah,
that,
no, 100%.
Like,
We're being ridiculous here.
Yeah, of course.
That's a huge moment.
Yeah,
it's a little thing, but it's a big thing as well.
It really
Drew.
is, man. And I hope that the other academy players see that and think, I want to be in that situation as well.
You say that, Drew, and like I keep going back to Matt Wells and his post-game pressers because he always has a little nugget there where he basically sent out a message to the Rapids Academy last night saying, listen, you have Nathan Schumber right now as the most recent example of what the pathway looks like from where you are in the academy for the Rapids to do what Nathan just did.
How cool is that?
So if you are disciplined enough, you put in the work, and you do everything you need to do on your part, you're not far off from having that sort of opportunity, whether it's at 15 years old, 18, whatever the case may be. But if you put in the work, that it's going to be recognized in some way or another, and in the manner of which where we put you on the pitch and you get to feature for the first team, which is something that everybody dreams of, right? So that was kind of cool to hear. Matt Wells like basically send that message out to the Rapids Academy players and saying, get going because your chance is right there. Yeah. You just need to apply yourself, and it's there for the taking for any one of you guys. Again, just a little kick in the rear kind of for them. So if you're an academy player, man, there's a kind of extra pep in your step if you're training the next day now, and thinking that's my opportunity right there. I just need to grab it. I just need to grab it. So overall, a good night, man. And with Open Cup, that was a lot of fun. I was gonna do one little quick shout out here for our good friend here, our comms coordinator Peter Cohen, who. Listen, you might no, come on, no.
Here you go, Peter. I love Peter. Everybody
Peter's good
loves
people,
Peter.
and he's so good at what he does. So you might think you love Open Cup, but then there's Peter Cohen level of Open Cup, where he was like properly pumped for when this game was coming up on our calendar this year. And then when Dante scores his goal to make the difference in that match between the Rapids and Union Omaha. I wasn't in the press box when he celebrated, but he was, I think, apparently pretty pumped compared to the rest of the group.
Let's do it for Peter then.
Dude, if for nothing, Open Cup run and hopefully trophy, knock on wood, is for Peter Cohen. So shout out Peter, man. Like, he always does such an incredible job here with everything that he does. Like all the stats and information him and the rest of the comms team provides so that we can at least look half smart with the stuff that we do on here on the pod. It's a good job that they do. Not it's us that's kind of
got his work cut out there. So
that's putting it lightly. So shout out Peter, man. Yeah, he just does an incredible job here at this club. He's loved by everybody, and of course he loves the Open Cup. So he's definitely down that we're going to be making a run hopefully here in U.S. Open Cup. So before we move on from what was the Houston recap, but particularly the U.S. Open Cup recap that we just did here, in terms of U.S. Open Cup, our neighbors down south, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they were also playing last night. They were about an hour earlier before they had their kickoff before we did against Union Omaha. They were taking on Sporting Kansas City. They were the ones to get the better of Sporting Kansas City. 3-0 result, Drew, for the Switchbacks.
Cup set.
Cups, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a huge
beating.
No, for sure. But we know that Switchbacks are a good side, Drew.
They are.
Like it was not too long ago that they won USL Championship, right?
Two seasons ago.
They got to do it here at the Springs, which is actually kind of special. That's pretty special, honestly. So this is in theory a step up from what Union Omaha was. We saw how difficult it was to try to break down a very stubborn, disciplined Union Omaha side last night. So best believe that this is another challenge, because I don't buy into any of the narratives or thoughts of but they're USL Championship or no, like, because that you fall into that sort of mentality and you're the one who ends up being on the wrong side of a cup set.
Exactly.
Right. But knowing Matt Wells and the play, like they're going to treat this game like a cup final basically as well. So a big challenge ahead. We still have yet to get final confirmation on the time and the date of that match, but we do know we will be playing the Colorado Springs Switchbacks in the next round of the Open Cup, Drew, which should be exciting.
Should be fun.
Should be very, very exciting.
Hopefully they bring a lot of fans.
Yeah, but Open Cup's fun, man. Like it really is. Again, I can't pretend like I'm gonna love it as much as Peter. Peter
okay.
Cohen, but
He loves it more than anybody, it sounds like.
But Open Cup is fun, man. Like it's and it's the best teams that are involved in as many competitions, and not just involved, not just to participate, but actually going for it. They're gunning for it all the way, which, as Matt Wells has said, we're not going to settle on just winning a game here and maybe moving on to the next round. He's here to win the Open Cup. Again, he comes from a background being in the FA Cup. Boy, is that brutal.
Yeah.
That is like, so he knows what it takes to win a cup competition. Europa League, kind of a step up from that, right? But having been in those sorts of competitions, he knows what it takes on the day to what it takes to just kind of grind through some of those competitions sometimes, so that at the end of the day you're the one walking away with the trophy. So hopefully that's the case for the Rapids.
I would love that.
Hopefully that would be nice. When it was like August, September, I think, is the final. Usually it's before the MLS season ends at least. So long way to go, but it feels feasible.
It should be. You beat the Switchbacks, you're in the quarterfinals,
Yeah.
But you have to take care of the Switchbacks first.
Yes.
And that's a team that will be hungry, that those players will want to prove that they should be up here and not down in the Springs. You have all that narrative, right? Doesn't matter, Matt Wells and his side. They're going to take that game extremely seriously, just like they did the Union Omaha match, and it'll be a fun affair.
For sure, man. Yeah, so probably like a couple weeks' time or so. Again, we're still waiting on final confirmation on that. But nonetheless excited for that match against the Switchbacks when they take on the Rapids pretty soon here in the Open Cup. But we got some other things to move on to, Drew. One other thing, actually. So we're going to go around the club, but this is going to kind of take us straight into our preview for the big match that we have on the weekend.
What's happening?
A little something called Miami coming to town. But again, we'll get to that in just a second.
Oh,
but
okay.
Let's go around the club real quick, which, again, has a bit of a tie in there to the match itself. So quite a bit going on Saturday outside of just the match itself, right, against Inter Miami on the weekend. That's going to be at Empower at Mile High, not here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. I think we already put out a graphic saying that we've sold over 60,000 tickets, and we're still selling more. So we're already expecting a very big crowd.
That's a lot of people.
That's quite a lot of people in one spot, I'd say.
Don't be nervous.
I won't be.
No,
I'll be
okay.
all right. Nah, I'm good under pressure.
All right, yeah, you are.
I would like to think I am.
We'll find out.
So a few things here just to cover in terms of like things going on around what is going to be the 30th anniversary match, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna have a fan fest. I think it's
Sweet.
gonna a little bit bigger, a little oomph to it, if you will.
Some oomph.
Yeah, I mean it's a big match, man, and we're getting to play at Empower at Mile High. That'll be my first experience actually being at the stadium there, working it, because I was actually there for 2021. Nations League, am I thinking of that correctly? When the U.S. played, I can't remember who it was in the semifinal before the final against Mexico. So that'll be a really cool occasion for the Rapids to play there. And funny enough, that is where the first Rapids home match ever took place. Certain Marcelo Balboa scored a couple goals there to contribute.
Sure did.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool to kind of bring everything full circle for such a big match 30 years later. So the Fan Fest is going to be really, really cool. We have a Colfax cleanup. So that's where just basically it's people at the club and other folks involved with the club that are just going to be there to help, as we talked about before, Drew, in terms of being involved in the community, not just being neighbors, but not participating and being a part of our community, right? So that the Colfax cleanup is basically going, it is what it is for what it says there, going out to Colfax and folks with the club and other folks associated with the club as well, who will be out there and just helping clean up.
That's cool.
Colfax Avenue. Again, man, it's just these are the little many things that the club has to do to show that they're a good neighbor. They're not just here to showcase their football, but they're here to contribute to the community as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have that going on as well, which I believe is the day before the match, if I recall correct. Or sorry, no, it is the day of the match.
Day of the match.
It's just earlier in the day.
Okay.
So it's a very jam-packed day that we have
sure
going
is,
on
man.
Saturday. We are actually going to have a halftime show. TBD on announcement. I have the deets, but I cannot put those out there just yet.
You're gonna keep them from us?
No, I don't. I'm just being a little
Oh,
secretive
okay.
there.
I was about to say.
But there will be a halftime show.
Okay.
But the details will be out
Will it
there.
involve you?
No, we don't need that. This is already bad enough that I'm on the podcast. We don't need more of me anywhere else. So there will be a halftime show, but TBD on the details of who will be performing for that halftime show. We will be putting that out. Who? Yes. Who?
Oh, it's a person.
Who? Or it could be you could throw a robot on there. I don't know, man. In this day and age,
A robot?
no. So we'll put those details out there later this week before the match, obviously.
Okay.
And then right before the match, we're gonna have a flyover.
Oh,
and parachutes.
I love
it's
a
gonna be
flyover,
like here's the
parachutes.
thing. It's gonna be like an occasion, man. Like
So people are jumping out of planes.
basically. I'm glad
I
I'm not
hope
doing
I'm
that.
not signed up for that. I do a lot of things around here.
Drew, I do have something to tell you
here.
No, you're good. You're in the clear.
Unless I'm like strapped to Rapid Man or something.
I think that'd be pretty good.
That'd be
That'd be
cool.
pretty dope. All right, I'm gonna make note of that just to do it
Okay,
last
thank
minute.
you.
Yeah, producer Miles literally just said I'm gonna make a note of that, and we're gonna do a last minute request for that. So brace yourself, Drew, because you might be jumping out of a plane with Rapid Man soon.
Sweet.
So
I'll go where he goes.
all in all, Drew, this is going to be an occasion.
That's a lot.
This is like there's a lot going. Yes, these are fun things that are going to be happening in and around the match, before, during, after the match, right? But this is going to, again, I think rightly so that the club is going out of their way to try to make this a huge event, a huge occasion, because we're still celebrating 30 years of history as a club, Drew. Like I said earlier in the show, we're one of very few original clubs in this league, right? There's a lot of cool clubs who have come into the fold later, a few even just as recent as a few years ago, but we're one of the few that have been here from the very, very beginning back in 1996, and that's special. That's really special to say that we've been here literally from the beginning for a league that means so much to so many people, this club that means so much to so many people. It's now that I say it out loud, it's very humbling almost in a sense, right? To be a part of something so unique and so special. So I'm very much looking forward to this match on Saturday with, again, this is all like a kind of the pomp and the spectacle around the match itself, which we're going to talk about in just a sec.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking forward to Saturday, man. It's going to be huge.
Me too.
It's
and there's going to be some, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces, some former players, and it's.
And there have been some good players.
Yeah,
at this
there
club.
sure have.
My goodness. And that'll be a little surprise for folks, I think, along the way.
Was I not supposed to share that?
No, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, you could.
All right.
Yeah, you're in the clear.
Well, so it was a couple of them hit me up, and so I was like, "Oh, you guys are going to be here? That's cool." So
yeah, it's cool, man. The fact that it's just things like that, just all of these things that are coming together to make this, like we talked about. It's going to be this huge occasion, huge event that you do not want to miss out on. If you're a Rapids fan, if you can make it to the game this Saturday. So
and the club deserves a day like this, I feel like.
Yeah, again, dude, we've been here from the beginning of the inception of this league, man. Like, that is not a small thing. Like, there's only literally a handful of other clubs in the league that can say that.
Yeah. Right?
You think of all these places with cool stadiums and that are brand new, like Austin, LAFC, all these other clubs, right? We've been here from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that. There's something very unique and special to that we can kind of stake our claim with, and is like it's a very special thing that we have there that pertains to the Rapids. So again, man, I'm excited. And speaking to that excitement, let's
talk about it.
Let's talk about it. What it's going to take to get a little something out of there. So 3 points out of there, right? So as we've been talking about and leading up to for months at this point now, but now finally the week has come leading up to the match that is going to be the Colorado Rapids versus Inter Miami. That is going to be happening this Saturday, April 18th, 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff. The soccer gods or the
afternoon kickoff.
Kickoff. Let's go, man. I love an afternoon kick, man. So let's go straight into it, Drew, with this preview between the two sides. We'll do a team comparison to start. So looking at the records here for both sides, it's Colorado, who are 4-0-3, 6th place in the West. Miami are 3-3-1, they're 3rd place in the East. Points, Colorado have 9, Miami have 12. Goals scored, Colorado have 19, tied for most in the league so far this season. Miami have 13. Goals against, 12 goals scored against for both sides. And then average possession for both sides, Colorado at 52.9% versus Miami 60.5%. In Miami, they're just coming off draw against Red Bull New York. That was at their brand new home, that is new stadium out there in Miami, which looks really cool. It was Totti Silvetti and Gerard Berterame who scored the goals for Miami, and Rubalcaba and Mehmeti for Red Bull New York. So Miami probably looking to kind of change their fortunes a little bit, get out of that little funk, and earn 3 points, but it'll be very difficult considering they're coming to altitude against a very good Rapids side, so they have their work cut out for them. The last time these two sides played against each other, Drew, was in 2024, April 6, 2024, so almost a little more than 2 years ago at this point. That was a 2-2 draw between the two sides. That was in their old stadium.
Yep.
Actually, the other one that they had built out kind of temporarily before they moved into what is new stadium today. Miami, bit of news that dropped. Was it yesterday? I think it was that dropped.
It's incredible.
So their head coach, well, now former head coach Javier Mascherano, he left Miami due to personal reasons. So that means that Guillermo Hoyos, who was their sporting director, is now going to take charge as the interim head coach for this side. So a little bit going on with Miami, Drew, but
Something's going on there.
yeah, there's a few like shifting pieces here and there, but this is the side that has Messi.
Yeah.
Right? And we're talking about, I would say, he's the greatest of all time. He's the greatest to have ever kicked a ball in the history of the game, I would say. So that's no small thing to take on Saturday, amongst other threats that they legitimately do have on that side, Drew. This is a very good Inter Miami side who, by no accident, of course, won MLS Cup last season. So it's the reigning MLS Cup champs coming to town here to Colorado. And a lot to look forward to, Drew. But I think, what do you see? How do you see this match going into it, and the spectacle and all? What are your thoughts going into this match, Drew?
A lot of excitement. Let's go back real quick because the Raptors are on 12 points. So just a quick correction.
Excuse me.
I'm not sure why it says 9 points on this piece of paper, but
That's
I
my fault.
felt like I had to point that out.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I
Good
got you,
teammate.
man. That's what we're here for each other,
Yep.
But no, Inter Miami are pretty much what you would expect Inter Miami to be. And I don't care really about, as interesting as it is, the coaching, whatever's going on there, right? I think with Inter, you're still going to see them come out and try to do what they typically do, and that is a lot of Messi and attack, right? Lionel Messi, you've maybe heard of him. The play runs through him still, right? And so if he's given time and space, he's going to punish you, whether it's scoring goals himself or bringing his teammates into the play. That being said, they have some very dangerous players in attack that kind of partner with Lionel Messi and Silvetti and Allende and Berterame, who got his first goal, with Inter Miami in league play at least. Just this last weekend. Of course, DePaul likes to run the midfield, but this is a team that you can get after their back line, and you can take advantage of the lack of discipline that they do have, especially the front group in defending, right? That might be the one area that you could see a different coach on the sideline trying to tweak these next couple days. You're not going to get that from Messi. He's still going to not defend, which is fine for them when he produces like he does going the other way. But you can take advantage of their lack of discipline defensively. They will typically just sit in and try to defend the box once you break their front four, right? Which can be done pretty easily at times. Now they will, try to get into good spots and put in the token effort at times. But for me, this is a game that if you limit Lionel Messi's touches on the ball in dangerous spots and his time and space on the ball, then you give yourself a very good opportunity if you go and reward yourself on the other end.
Yeah. You just said they're done. Because how many
Yeah, of
teams,
course it is.
How many
That's
teams,
why I'm sitting here
Yeah.
and not over there in that locker room right now.
I mean, how many teams and players have tried to stop one certain Lionel Messi, right? And has just made a fool of them. There's no two ways about that, right?
True. But Matt Wells hasn't yet, has he?
Yeah, so this will be a fun challenge, I think, for Matt Wells as a coach and for the rest of these players here at the Rapids to take on a sort of challenge. Like these are the sort of moments and players that you want to be able to step up to and say, I'm up for it. Like I can handle this, no problem. I don't know about no problem because Messi is Messi. We have to acknowledge him for who he is. It'll be a challenge for sure, but just show up. Hey, I'm not afraid of you. Yes, you're Lionel Messi, the greatest of all time, but I'm going to step onto the pitch just like anybody else would on any other game and go and show my stuff and show what I'm made of and put it to Miami and show that they're not going to take the points away from us here, especially like we said, on what's going to be a big occasion on Saturday against Inter Miami. Let's go straight into some of the things that we're going to be looking at in particular, Drew, for. So I can only imagine who your opponent player to watch is going to be, Drew, but I'll keep that to myself and let you have at it.
Who are they playing again? Yeah, I'm not going to mess around. It's Lionel Messi. Just watch him. Just go back and watch any game he's ever been in. The fact that he just kind of hangs out defensively is one of the things that makes him so difficult to defend, because he'll pop up in these spots, and when his team wins the ball in good spots, it doesn't even have to be a great spot, and gets the ball at his feet, he makes things happen, right? He's got a magical left foot. He has a way of just slaloming in and out of pressure, reading where the pressure is coming from, using his body, bringing his teammates into the play. He's got a quick release on his shot. I can't believe I'm doing a scouting report on Lionel Messi right now, but here I am. He's the player that, if you're able to limit, again, his time and space on the ball, keep him as far away from goal as possible, then, you take a lot of what Miami wants to do away from them in attack. Now, again, like we said, that's much easier said than done. Unfortunately, I don't have to be the one that is coming up with
you and me both, Drew.
with that plan. Unfortunately for our fans in our club, that I'm not the one doing that. But Matt Wells will have a plan put together in place to make sure that Messi is limited, and then of course the players we just mentioned in Silvetti and Bertarame and Suarez and Segovia, and these are Allende. These are very good players, and you pronounce all of their names way better than I do, but that's my best shot.
You got it, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
You got it, bro. You got my seal of approval.
But I'm more interested in your player to watch, because we knew who mine was going to be.
Yeah, so
your Rapids player to watch.
So on my part, Drew, on my part, in terms of Rapids player to watch, I was thinking, again, like we always say, like we don't know lineups or anything. Like the coaches are still trying to figure that out during the week, for what it's worth. So we don't have lineups or anything like that. But just based off recent performances and lineups that we've seen, is with that being said, that the Rapids player to watch for me on my part is going to be Hamzat, I think. So Hamzat, or whoever you have in that number 6 role. No, exactly, Drew. Because he's you need someone who's going to have a little bite in there to really just kind of stick it to, be it a Messi or be it to any of Miami's offensive players. We had talked about this before with, I think it was with Toronto, right, where that's a good side. They like to keep the ball and play with the ball, have possession of the ball. But if you keep them from doing that, whether you're able to just cleanly take the ball off them, or if you break their rhythm and frustrate them with a clip here, a foul there, chip away at them and frustrate them, and then get in their heads, slowly away you can chip away at Miami and just kind of have them get in their own heads a little bit, just be frustrated by the fact that they're not allowed to play, whether we take the ball cleanly off them or not, right? So in particular with the Hamzat, right, he's got some bite to him, but he can also take the ball cleanly off somebody as well, because he's a destroyer. Like he's just that good and covers ground so well, right? So whether it's a Hamzat or whoever the number 6 is that's going to be there, or any of the 6s that are there, I feel like it's going to be very incumbent on them, whether it's through man marking or whether it's just keeping tabs or passing on some of the players to other defenders or other teammates to let them know, hey, you need to keep tabs on them, particularly Lionel Messi. It's going to be vital for them to be as communicative, as mobile, as aware as they can be, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, to limit a Messi, again, whoever's on the ball on Miami's side, limit the rhythm, maybe even break the rhythm, and the Rapids will find themselves in a good spot where we know we're a physical side. We're willing to take those fouls, a yellow here and there, frustrate Miami with some of those fouls and some just clipping at their heels a little bit. The Rapids will find themselves in a better spot than Miami mentally and just go on and hopefully take on the game from there.
Mm-hmm. And one way I think you can disrupt Miami's attack and just their tone in general, and certainly physicality, right? And we know Hamzat, if he's out there, is going to be more than up for that challenge. And I hope the rest of the squad just feeds off of that. We know, especially in the middle of the park, that's going to be important. Josh Atencio, he's willing to step in. Wayne Frederick, he's willing to step in. We got players in the middle of the park, the center backs, they're willing to step in and have a bite, right? That is one way certainly you can disrupt this Miami side. But let's go straight into my key to the match of another way you can disrupt an attacking an exciting attacking side like Inter Miami is by finishing your own attacks, right? If you finish your attacks high up the field, and I've used this one before, right? So this is going to be nothing new. But if you finish your attacks with shots on goal, with shots off target, with corner kicks won, with goalkeeper saves, throw-ins deep in the half, offsides plays, whatever it is, as long as you are not finishing attacks in your middle third or your defensive third, then I think you're going to limit what Inter Miami want to do. You're going to give them a long field, right? And you're going to have the ball more, or the ball's going to be out of play in their half a little bit more, right? And so that's another way that you can disrupt the rhythm of Inter Miami. Plus, you're putting pressure on their defense and their back group, right? Which eventually, pressure is going to break, right? And whether it's through goals or again through corner kicks, through fouls, but just limiting Inter Miami's time on the ball. Through good possession of your own and through finishing attacks of your own, you can disrupt a lot of what they want to do in attack as well.
Yeah. Sounds good to me, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I'd imagine a lot of the Inter Miami players are not really that willing to defend, particularly the front line.
Right.
So maybe that is where some of those opportunities come up, where you're against fewer numbers than you're typically used to in MLS, where, Messi, unless he does out of nowhere just tracks back like 80 yards to defend. I don't think that's going to happen exactly. Let's be real about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there is an opportunity there, as you said, that if the Rapids can either finish off with goals or finish off just the plays, just keep the ball on their side of the field, Miami's just going to reach a point of frustration on top of what we just talked about, like clipping away at them, break the rhythm. Mm-hmm. They're going to reach a point of frustration where they're just not going to know. They're not going to have solutions for the Rapids at the end of the day. As we saw against Houston. Houston, they just didn't have solutions against a dynamic, aggressive, clinical Rapids side that on their day is dangerous, Drew. Like we said, it's the high scoring, along with Vancouver, the high scoring team in the league. Yeah. So if you let them, they're just going to rack up the goals. The Rapids will rack up the goals if you let them.
And there's no reason to think they can't do that on Saturday afternoon. No reason at all.
That's not a wild take, Drew. Yeah. I was just talking about this with a couple other folks. Like, how do you feel about this going into this game against Miami? It's like, it's so easy to think, you just kind of like shrink to the occasion against a Miami with Messi and all these guys and the star power they supposedly have, right? No. Like, have you seen the Rapids play lately?
Yeah.
Like, with the goals they're scoring, the way they score them, the aggressive style of play that they have, like, there's every reason to think that the Rapids can walk out with 3 points on the day. Well, I'm being serious.
100%. And let's talk about the occasion, because I know you want to point out something about the occasion in your key.
Yeah, Drew. Like, for me, it's not much of a key, Drew. It's just more for the in terms of the Rapids players, like, just enjoy the occasion.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, I can't speak from personal experience, right? But that's where I'd imagine where if you're a player, you can help me out with this probably, Drew, where if you're a player and you feel very confident, you feel like you're in the moment, if you're coming off a 6-2 win on the weekend and another win just recently in Open Cup, and despite having to grind that out, everything seems to just kind of fall into place. When you put in the work, when you keep yourself honest, your teammates honest, everything just kind of falls into place. Like, I remember Matt Wells used to saying, like, the football has a way of looking out for you at the end of the day, right? The game has a way of looking out for you. So for the Rapids players, I think just enjoy the occasion, man. We're over 60,000 tickets I said are sold for this game. It's going to be a huge crowd at this match to commemorate what is 30 years of history for such a club like the Rapids. It's not every day that we get that, right? As much as we love Dick's Sporting Goods Park, it doesn't have the capacity of a Mile High and power at Mile High. So the fact that you're going to walk out onto a pitch against Lionel Messi and co. against Inter Miami in front of a very, very, very big crowd that you don't get every day, you got to soak that up and enjoy it. As you have all the work that you put in throughout the week at training and all the video and all the meetings and all the sessions that you go through to prepare for this occasion. It's going to make sure that you're in a good spot to be prepared. You've done your bit. You've done your work as a player. You've done everything you possibly can to make sure you're ready for the match. Once you're on the pitch, walking out, waiting for the national anthem to play, kickoff goes on, and you're in the middle of the game, enjoy it. Enjoy it, and I think everything will fall into place with all the work that the Rapids players and the staff have done to put themselves in a good position, like I said, to win this match against Inter Miami, to walk away with all 3 points on this 30th anniversary match.
Yeah, I agree, and I like it, and I think this is a group that is always prepared. We know that. We've talked about it
thoroughly
with this coaching staff. And you do have to find those moments on Saturday to enjoy it, whether it's while you're walking out or during the national anthem or during the flyover and parachuters coming into the stadium. Like the ball out of play, have a look. Like, yeah, absolutely enjoy it, and then go and embrace the work, right? Go and embrace the work that you have prepared for in these, couple days leading up to it, and embrace the hard work and enjoy the hard work that's going to go into it, that goes into every match that you play in, especially to earn 3 points against a very good, exciting Inter Miami side. Yeah, find those little moments to enjoy the occasion, and then put your head down and go to work. And I think if you do that, you give yourself a very good chance to come out with 3 points, and then we're all going to enjoy the occasion afterwards.
Yeah, man. I think I just gave myself my own key to the match. There's just try to enjoy the occasion as well, man. Because it's one I've had a few moments that, and I've been fortunate enough to be a part of in just my professional career. It's just really cool to be a part of, and you have to be able to just kind of take a step back for a quick second, emphasis on that, because there's work to do. Just soak it in a little bit. Like you said, like you just have to be able to recognize where you're at in the moment, what's going on, and realize this is something special, right? And like we said, there's already so many people coming to this match to be part of something really, really special. More still expected to come, probably. Potentially fill the stadium, Drew. I think we might be tracking towards that. I don't know personally, but I think we're on our way.
That'd be sweet.
It's going to be special, man. Like this, I have a very strong feeling that this match on Saturday is going to be one of those moments that I'm talking about, that I'm very fortunate to be a part of, and kind of look back on. It's like, oh, I got to be there. I was a part of that, right?
I hope so.
We're all going to be there. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this match, man. Again, all the build-up that's gone into it, all the work that's gone into it, whether you talk about the players, the coaching staff, people here at the club, on the business side, like it doesn't matter who it is, anyone who has had anything to do with the Rapids, there's been a tremendous amount of work that has gone into this to prepare for this weekend. And we're hoping that the fans at the end of the day are the ones who bear the fruits of that labor and just enjoy the match at the end of the day, man. Big game on Saturday. Outside of all the occasion, all this, it's a 3 points that's there up for grabs nonetheless. The Rapids will be looking to take all three of those before they continue with this super busy stretch. But all eyes are on Saturday. And it's going to be a really, really fun occasion, Drew. I have a very good feeling, man.
It sure will be.
Radio call with our good friend Connor Cape?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that should be a fun one for you guys.
Yeah, we'll do an out of bounds segment as well. So we'll goof off in front of a lot of people.
More than usual.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll still be the same. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Man, I'm just looking forward to it. So let's just close it out there, because I'm going to carry on about how excited I am about this match. So to close out, before we head out here, just to remind you all that this match between the Colorado Rapids and Inter Miami is happening at Empower Field at Mile High. Unfortunately, not here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, our usual home, but to facilitate many more people who can be a part of this special match, this special occasion that is to celebrate 30 years of history as a club, Drew. This Saturday, April 18th, 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff, afternoon kickoff.
Yes.
Always love an afternoon kick. I would tell you can watch an MLS season pass, but I don't know. I
feel can't actually.
Like unless you
can't.
If you live in and around here in Colorado, you should be at this match.
Yes.
This is the one I'm going to emphasize very heavily. You should be at this match and not at home watching an MLS season pass. Yeah. This is going to be a special one. It'll be a very, very special occasion. And like I said it for myself and for us, but I think for the fans as well, it's one of those you as a fan can say, I was there.
Yep.
You're going to look back 5, 10, 20 years from now.
You won't regret it.
You will not regret being a part of such an occasion. So with that, Drew, I think we'll call it there now.
Let's get to Saturday.
Oh my God, that was a jam-packed podcast. I need to go take a nap, lie down.
That was like...
Funny enough, I'm on a couch.
There you go. That was like 3 episodes.
That felt like 6.
We should take the next couple weeks off. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. Are y'all crazy? We'll be here.
Speak for yourself. I might just tap out here.
He might be sleeping on the couch, but we'll be here.
Alrighty, I think after all that bedlam and mayhem there, that's going to do it for us here on the Colorado Rapids podcast. My big thanks to producer Miles, taking care of us as always on the production side of things. My good friend and resident Rapids legend, Drew Moore. What a legend, bro. My God. I'm still thinking about that goal we showed you earlier, man. It even gave me goosebumps just looking at it. I wasn't even there.
The poor corner flag.
And so Drew Moore, and then, of course, myself as your host, Mike Ravolo. Everybody, we got a big week ahead of us, a big weekend ahead of us against Inter Miami. So please, if you can, make it to the match, because it is a match you do not want to miss. But nonetheless, you have MLS Season Pass available as a resource if you cannot make it to the match. But we're looking forward to seeing everybody at Empower Field and Mile High this Saturday for what is going to be our 30th anniversary match, celebrating 30 years of history for such a club that is the Colorado Rapids. Have a good week, everybody, and hope to see many of you at the stadium at the match against Inter Miami.